This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Well, thank you so much, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Ervin, and it's another foray into some great information today as we welcome some incredible ladies for a chat about an organization called A Red Circle. Lady J. Huston is the Community Arts Coordinator. She is also a blues artist who toured at the age of 18 as a trumpet player for, get ready for this, the legendary Albert King. I know it made my heart jump when I heard that. Jessica Johnson is the Community Arts Director of A Red Circle. And we are so glad to have both of you here, ladies. Welcome to Time Signatures. How are you?
Well, I am fantastic, and thank you for having us.
Yes, indeed.
It is my honor, and I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be here tonight. I'm excited to learn more about A Red Circle. Talk about, I guess I'll address this to Lady J, and feel free, Jessica, to jump in if you have some feedback as well. But talk about the vision and impact, and then the process of starting A Red Circle and the timeline, if you would.
Well, I have been with the Red Circle for 1 year, so I think that question should really go to Jessica. She's been there since the beginning. It's inception. Okay.
Look at that. Stepping aside. Go ahead, Jessica.
Yeah, for sure. So back in 2014, we lost one of our community members, Michael Brown, to police brutality. And it caused a major uproar here in Ferguson, Missouri, in St. Louis County, North St. Louis County, Missouri. And our founder, Erica Williams, aka my mother, she wanted to do something constructive. She didn't want to just be another angry protester on the street and just leave it at that. So she ended up going to school for public policy. And in her school journey, she was inspired to start a nonprofit, and she decided to call it A Red Circle.
Wow.
So that name comes from unity, being in a circle, and the fact that all of us, no matter what color, no matter what nationality, what sexuality, no matter who you are, all of us bleed red. And so that is how the organization got started. And ever since then, we've done things like erect gardens for healthy food access. We've gone into public schools to offer education support to the families and to the students.
Wow.
And we've also provided arts experiences so that way our community can experience the enriching and healing power of the arts. We do all of this through a racial equity lens because North St. Louis County is predominantly African American. So that way the community can be brought in a positive light, especially after what happened over 10 years ago. Yes.
Yeah. Now, obviously, there was a need for this type of a program. And how has it been received by the people in the St. Louis area?
Man, from what I've seen, it's pretty well received. It's fascinating watching my family be known, like my mom being a household name. Whenever I bring up A Red Circle, people say, "Hey, I've heard of that organization, and you guys are doing really good work."
Nice.
We have a lot of followers on our socials, and people just really light up at the work that we're doing. And so I appreciate all the donations, anyone who shares about the work that we're doing, all the people that come through our programs and feel served, feel seen, and feel heard. So yeah, very, very good reception here in North County, St. Louis.
Very cool. And I have to say something, because when Jessica and I were talking before we started, she was kind of nervous because she didn't know how she was going to do. Girl, you are doing fine. So you just keep on good work. All right.
You see why I pivoted? You see why I pivoted? Okay.
You know what though? It's really my passion for this message that helps the nerds. Like, I grew up with a terrible stutter, and public speaking would have never been my thing, but I feel a calling to talk to people, to reach people. And so I just I said, you know what, F it. I'm just gonna go and speak and share about what we're doing. So for sure. And you definitely have created a nice, warm, welcoming atmosphere also.
Well, one of the things that I like to do, and I shared with you before we started this evening, is the rule is have fun, period. Just have fun. And I try to do that, but I'm also cognizant and I'm very welcoming to everybody because I think it's important. I think we have to have, diversity in our lives and be able to talk to people of all different positions in life. And I'm really excited because I want to tease this a little bit. Coming up at the end of this episode, we are going to debut the Community Peace Song. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But I want to bring Lady J in here because she's got a little bit of the blues going on in her life.
That's right.
I'd love to hear about the blues legacy in St. Louis and its relevance today to what you're doing.
Well, we have been like the central area of the blues that has not gotten its full acknowledgement. St. Louis Blues, written by W.C. Handy. That's been recorded over and over and over. And, he was traveling from the Delta down, coming through St. Louis, going over to Chicago. And so, I grew up in a household where there was a lot of blues going on. And my mother was also a singer. Jessica and I, we're family as well. So Jessica has a beautiful voice too. So in our family, it was just tons of singers and things. I was one of the oddballs to pick up a trumpet along the way. But when I was like you said, I'd gone to college, came out, took a hiatus at 18 because I graduated early, valedictorian and most talented, voted that. And Albert King, he was always, he was right across the river, but he loved coming over, recruiting musicians out of St. Louis. St. Louis has some of the top-notch musicians in the world, literally the world.
Okay.
As I'm touring across the country, whatnot, if I say I'm from St. Louis and I want to sit in, I just say I'm St. Louis. They say, come on up. Its history is very rich. And we also have the National Blues Museum here in St. Louis now.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so we're bringing in, national artists. They support the local artists. I've been a teaching artist with them, teaching the children as well about the blues. And I'll get up there and I'll perform and I'll see them dancing and I'll pass the mic over to them, teach them a little bit what those chord progressions mean and all of that. So last year, Go USA TV, they were out of Hollywood. They were doing like 6 states tour about music in different areas, and they decided to pick St. Louis to represent the blues. So I was selected with another gentleman, Chris Shepard, to be the central artist on that. And that just really, really made me feel extra good because they picked us out of any city they could have to represent the blues. And, they said St. Louis.
Now, I have to ask you a question because you live in St. Louis, and I happen to know that the Women in Blues Coast to Coast display just ended its run at the National Blues Museum, and that's put on by Lynn Orman. Did you get a chance to check that out?
Yes, I've seen that. Now, you saying it was just here? I missed that. I didn't know they were just here.
It just ended its run. Yes, the 31st of March was the end of its run at the Blues Museum.
Okay, I've seen it before, but I missed the memo that they were just here.
Okay.
Okay, so I apologize for that. But
no, that's okay. But you're familiar with it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I saw Lynn at the Blues Music Awards not too long ago. And so they had a art competition here in St. Louis, and one of the local artists selected me as to be her feature. So she had me on the wall with Billie Holiday,
sure,
and some other artists. So that was a feature. So I've been displayed there. And if you got any plugs with Lynn Orman, to go ahead and throw me in that show that she's be doing all over the place.
Well, I think
I don't know.
Lynn Orman and I think Michelle Seidman would be another one with the National Women in Blues.
Oh, Michelle Seidman and we are best, and she does a lottery. So to select who she's going to use for her show.
Yes, she does.
So I throw in on my name on a lottery. But she's featured me on the on Beale Street in one of
Yeah.
her seminars that she did. So yeah, she's been a huge supporter. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what, I am going to be on Beale Street at the IBC next January.
Okay.
I'm actually donating some time. I'm going to bring down my mobile recording setup, and we're going to do some
Good.
interviews. And
There we go.
and
That's
working
awesome.
with Lynn and Michelle, and I'm really
Okay.
excited. So if you're there, come and say hi. Absolutely. But I want to
Okay.
keep moving on this. According to your information sheet, a Red Circle Creative Spot is a brand new multimedia hub located in North St. Louis County. I'd love to hear more about the program. It looks like it's multifaceted. So Jessica, do I turn that back to you?
Yes. So we are gearing up to open the creative spot on May 3rd. We're gonna start off with a ribbon cutting on May the 2nd, invite the community out to celebrate the brand new location, and then we're gonna have the grand opening the following day. So as of right now, there's no programming happening on the inside. We've had some rehearsals for a Kwanzaa show that we host every year. And then we also had a program called Drumming for Peace for a week there, where we invite youth ages 2 through 13 to come and do drumming activities, all geared towards emotional regulation and mental regulation with a partner company.
We had
So,
Chosen
yeah,
Pathways. That's
and Chosen Pathways. Thank you for
Yes.
sure.
That was a very, very good program that we were able to recruit outside artists to come and present to the children. So
Okay.
we had a spoken word artist. We had a gentleman that did video production, teaching them how to do that. I performed and I did some genealogy by research, and I do that as well. And we had another person who I'm missing one person that we had present. But
I know there was she's a stylist for movies and film and things like that. So she came and presented and shared some of her art with our interns at the Creative Spot too.
Yes.
And we've just envisioned the space to be a sanctuary of art and healing and expression for the members of North County St. Louis. As of right now, art programs are being gutted from the school districts. Music programs are as well. And so we hope that this location can be a beacon of hope for those people and for parents who want their kids to experience art still without those barriers being in the way. So definitely look forward to all the different things that can happen there. We want to partner with as many organizations as possible, fill the space to capacity. It's a pretty small space, maybe compared to some of the other facilities in the area, but it's got tons and tons of potential to be remembered and to make the most positive of memories, which we know can combat trauma and dysregulation and things like that. So that is the creative spot, a Red Circle creative spot that we envision for North County, St. Louis.
So
and
with
I
your
would consider that the prime real estate for Ferguson, Missouri. It's right on the corner of the downtown Ferguson, the historic downtown Ferguson.
Okay.
And I think we're going to get the basement built out, get a studio down there. We want to set up like you have there, Mr. Ervin. We want to run our own podcast like that. We really do. That's one of our plans.
No, yeah,
well,
for sure.
If you need any help, you just let me know. I'll be glad to give any assistance I can.
Right.
That's awesome. I love it. That's awesome.
Absolutely. So with these programs that you're putting on, is there any cost to the public for people that want to be involved in this?
Let me speak up.
My hope. Oh, yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
When I came on board, I noticed that everything they have been doing has been free to the public. I mean, entertainment, free food, get mulch, get food, get this. We're growing our own farm materials and everything. And I'm like, people, you just giving too much to the community. I mean, every now and then it's okay, but over and over and over, and then even our last Kwanzaa production, we had a full band there. We had actors, dancers, African drumming. And guess what? That was free too.
Wow.
And free food, soul food, 2 chefs.
Oh, girl, you got to have me down there next year.
We did charge, or we did ask for donations for the Kwanzaa show. And we make these events and programs possible through donations. We have very generous donors who believe in the work that we're doing, and we believe in access. You know what I'm saying? We believe in access to access to healthy food, access to education support, access to arts experiences, because, you know, not everyone can take away from the money that pays their bills and the money that keeps a roof over their head and the money that keeps food on the table to have these enriching experiences.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I noticed about North County, kind of a sidebar, we have to, if we want to take our kids to like Chuck E. Cheese or to the zoo or to any other fun location, we have to drive so far to be able to give them those enriching experiences. And our kids deserve quality experiences, local quality experiences. And so we definitely aim to give meaningful access to the community.
Yes, absolutely. Lady J, you are the communications and social media lead for a Red Circle. You've also got an incredible background. You've been touted as a lifelong creator and documentarian. You preserve the sound and legacy of the blues while spotlighting emerging youth voices. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, you also played trumpet for the blues legend Albert King. I would love to have you share a few details about your stint with Albert. Could you just tease us a little bit? Pretty please.
Oh no, I don't mind that at all. So I auditioned, and but I didn't audition with Albert King. I auditioned with the bass player Frank Dunbar, who now plays in my band.
Okay.
And so the first time I saw him, it was get on the bus. So he said, "You the girl that's gonna be playing in my band?" And I'm like, "Yes," because I'm scared of this man. For some reason, all of a sudden I'm frightened because you see him in person. He's 6 feet, 5 and like 250 pounds, and he's driving this big bus. So I was shaking getting on that bus. And as soon as we get to Kansas City, that was our first gig. The saxophonist wasn't on stage with the rest of us. And then we saw that he was on the dance floor instead of being on stage. Okay. And then it broke out into a fight because he was dancing with some man's wife.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, should we keep playing or should we stop? It was like the Titanic, keep playing, So we kept playing through this fight. Later, like 4 months later, we had a situation in Memphis. It was like we were hang out at the Peabody Hotel and all these Roberts Motel. That's where we were, at the Roberts Motel. And the same musician, Albert, didn't have the money that day. He really insists that the clubs pay him on the day, but he was buddies with these people in Memphis. That was like his second home. So he said, "Okay, give it to me on Monday." Like we just finished on Friday. So Albert announced to everybody, we were at rehearsal, we won't have the money until like Monday. And then this other guy, his name is Albert as well, Albert Hunter. He says, "Well, I don't want to wait. I need my money right now." And so they got into a little argument, and then Albert Hunter reached into his baritone sax case and pulled out a gun.
Oh,
now,
no.
Albert King kept a gun on him, right? No. One of their guns dropped and slid over to my foot. And I was frightened again.
Yeah,
I've never heard this story.
Oh, yeah, that's
crazy.
I know when I do my shows, I pull up a story every show. There's something new. Okay, so this is one of them I haven't told in a while. All right. So,
oh man,
yeah, it was a bad experience right there. And so they finally calmed down. But Albert Hunter lost the gig after that. But Albert also, in the bus, he kept in the center of the bus rifles and other types of guns. And he carried a sheriff's card. Now, so every now and then we get pulled over, Albert would flash his sheriff's card. So, I mean, that's just one of many, many stories.
Yeah, yeah. Now, during your stint with him, you also worked your way up as a vocalist and eventually as his music director, correct?
Correct, yes. So I was hired, for trumpet, and then at the audition they learned I could sing as well. So the Frank said learn like Dr. Feelgood and Stormy Money and some of these other tunes. And Albert heard it. He says, "Hey, how about opening the show?" Some of my shows they allowed for that, and so I became an opening act. Then I noticed a pattern of him firing musicians. He fired musicians a lot. He was very temperamental. And I was like, I don't think that guy missing that note that time was worth firing him over, you know. And then he would fire him over something silly. One guy, he kicked off the bus. He said he was smelling. The guy did have a body odor issue. But Albert couldn't take it anymore. He just said, get your trombone, get off my bus on the freeway. Now, there are others, a lot of musicians here in St. Louis, they have all kinds of stories, and you will hear this repeated of Albert kicking people off on tour on the highway. So
Wow.
I had, like I said, I had already been to college, majored in music theory and composition. So I knew how to write. And I started writing the charts out because, we were using cassette tapes back then, and we needed to turn musicians over so fast. It wasn't time for them to learn. So we started hiring more musicians who could read so they can get right on stage, that same day. So that's how I became the music director.
Okay. I know this is going to be difficult, but I'm hoping you've got one more in your memory banks here. What is your greatest memory about working with Albert, Lady J?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, geez. Yeah, it's so, okay. I don't know. It's a lot to choose from. Oh, I'll give you a couple of quick ones.
Sure.
We were in California at one of the vineyards, and on that show, he introduced me to Muddy Waters, John Lee Hooker, Bobby Blue Bland. All these people was on this festival. I wish it was the day of the cell phone because I don't have any photos of that. So that was such a moving moment for me to meet all of these legends. And so I would just have to say, being on shows with all of these great acts was a great learning adventure for me. And I'm just honored to have been a part of it. So, we did a Dick Clark special too. And that was different. We got paid, just to be on TV, got paid a lot of money. And then, okay. Maintenance Shop Blues. That's a film that was done by PBS in I think it was Iowa. You can find that on YouTube. One of our video segments has like millions and millions of views. Probably over 18 million. So that and I have a T-shirt from that. In that series, Taj Mahal was also in there, and some other acts. And so that is something I actually have that is televised. And I think his only fully televised show. Now, he did the thing with Stevie Ray Vaughan, but this was just him and his band on the TV. So I believe I'm in that segment.
Man, I hope I can find a DVD of that. That would be really cool, or at least be able to watch it online.
Yes.
Now, you won the 2023 Blues Blast Magazine New Artist Debut Album Award for Groove Me Baby. Woo! By the way, I'll have you know, I listened to that today as I was preparing for this interview.
Okay.
You've also gotten multiple other awards. You definitely bring some good tools to the table for a red circle, don't you? And I guess I would have to believe you have a pretty good eye for talent too. Yeah.
Oh yes. I've been honored to be able to recruit entertainers, and then I see the potential, like what happened with the Chosen Pathways program. Jessica said, "Hey guys, write a song." They had never really written a song before, but I'm listening. I say, "Wait a minute, she can sing." I said, "Okay, this is sounding good." And then Jessica has a beautiful voice. I said, "You know what? I like what you have done. How about taking this to the studio?" I don't even know if you had thought about that at the time, Jessica. Had you?
No. It's interesting. I absolutely appreciate what Lady J has brought to our programs, because originally I was going to have them write the song and then maybe do like a little video snippet of the song and just post it on our socials. But she came in, she booked the studio time, she handled the publishing and getting it out there, and used her musical expertise and recording artist expertise to make it a real record. And so I got to share the song with our interns who performed or who recorded the song with us, and they were very thrilled with how it turned out. One young lady, she was very nervous at first. She has a beautiful voice, but we were able to encourage her to sing, and she had a great time. So Lady J has definitely leveled up the community peace song project to what it is now, for sure.
Very nice.
And we even got the baby on the record.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I see potential talent in her for sure. When she's at the rehearsal, she's inquisitive. She's running around with the instruments. And now she sees my trumpet. She goes to my trumpet and she does we do a fake playing of the trumpet. And she'll do this on the valves and things. Yeah. So that's inspiring talent right there.
Jessica, you, of course, are the director of community arts. You're a poet. You're an organizer. You're an arts curator. Yes. You lead the cultural diversity or cultural immersive programs that empower youth and elevate Black identity through the arts and ancestral memory. Now, I would like to ask you, how do the arts tend to empower the youth to heal and lead? What have you seen?
Man, so I can answer this question with my own story. So growing up,
sure.
My parents weren't, for lack of better terms, the most financially stable. We always had a roof over our heads, but we did have to move around quite a bit. That being said, I was the new student at quite a few schools, not really gaining the courage to make friends. And I've spent my life as the introvert per se. But I've always had art class. I remember at least one project or just one art experience from every school that served as a positive memory for me. And I take that experience, and that's what I want to give to the youth of our community. We've been doing Chosen Pathways now. What's this, 2025? This will be our fourth year doing the program. And each year there's at least one intern who discovers something new about themselves, whether it's a new way to make friends through the art or just a new talent, a new hobby. And it's really heartwarming to see something that we've created from the ground make the impact that it's meant to make. My hope is that they take these experiences and these memories and it inspires them to chase careers and chase their chosen pathways in the arts. I had one young lady. So back in 2021, we were invited to a Juneteenth event at a church. And we decided to create a history display of Juneteenth. And that display had to be painted on the background. And the young lady that did the painting, she told me she never thought that it was in her to paint the way that she painted that background. And then the following year in 2022, we had a group come out. We filmed, I'm sorry.
No, you're
getting
okay.
excited. We filmed interviews
That's all right.
of entrepreneurs in the area. And so we had a film company come out, do like a crash course on how to film A-roll, B-roll. And this experience inspired a young lady to start a YouTube channel. And she was vlogging her life. And so every now and then I check out her channel just to see how she's doing, see what's going on and things like that. And then we love the youth. We love empowering the youth. There's this quote that goes, it's easier to raise up kids than to fix broken adults.
Amen to that.
And the programming that we offer, it catches the youth at a prime age where they're not old enough yet to be set in their ways, but they are old enough to be introduced to new ways of life. And so that's what we want to do with our kids here in North County. Last year during Chosen Pathways, I had 4 interns ages 16 to 23 with me for the entire summer. We designed art projects for tabling events. And then at those events, younger kids would come and have conversations with our interns, do the artwork, and just have a great time. But that same year, there was this story on the news of a group of 15-year-old boys who stole a car, and unfortunately the car got wrecked, and they were either terribly injured beyond repair or they lost their lives. And when I think about Chosen Pathways, my hope is to reach young people who don't have that outlet, who feel like they need to turn to these reckless behaviors and these reckless decisions just to feel empowered. You know what I'm saying? I think the reason why our young people make the decisions that they make is they're searching for something outside of themselves. They're searching for validation. They're searching for approval. And art has proven to really give that to them in a constructive and very safe and thriving way. So that is the hope that I have. I want to see Chosen Pathways cap at like 20 or 30 interns. Anyone who participates gets a scholarship for being a part of the program. We help them, or we equip them with whatever funds, with whatever skills and tools for them to chase career paths. And if not in the arts, then they can take the creativity and problem solving skills that they learn into other careers, into other industries. And we can see a positive change in the youth demographic here in St. Louis.
Yes. Now, I don't care who answers this one. I'm going to throw the ball up in the air, but I have to ask you about how a red circle, which is led by women, lends itself toward leading a cultural revival in the Black community.
Would you like to take that on? Or?
Okay. Yes. So we were recently involved in an interview for the Rolling Stone and magazine. And what came to light is we once had a thriving community here called Kinlock. Everybody in the area, African Americans, self-sufficiency in every way. And over time, the community was lost. The lands were bought out by the airport, and it all disappeared. So that was a hole that was left. And organizations like a Red Circle is able to fulfill those missing components. A lot of the schools have lost their music programs.
Yeah.
I always get a little disturbed that they never even think about ending sports. But the music and arts, okay, those can go by the wayside. But those are programs that help the youth build self-esteem. It also helps in, science, mathematics, building friendships and, camaraderie amongst each other.
Yes.
And so it's really sad when we're in those days where that happened. When I was in high school, our marching band was like 100 members, and it was a fun experience. Yeah. So I call those safe games. And so this is why, the work that Red Circle has been doing inspired me to become a member. Right now it's like, I'm doing all this music and everything, but I also need to settle down a little bit. I'm not so crazy about touring anymore. I think I've gotten a little burnt out. So, going out every now and then is okay. But having a nice foundation at home is something I was looking for. And so this is what a Red Circle is bringing to the community. And even though, we're focused on the arts end, I'm also so impressed with what the company is building in education and this they got the community nexus, several businesses going to be involved there, and then they've got this humongous grant to build their own grocery store. So that's going to help us in North County, St. Louis, because high quality foods are not available to us. We have to go outside our area to get it. And that's what a Red Circle is bringing to the community.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I remember I've been with the Red Circle, well, since its inception, but back in 2019, I was able to do a school internship with the organization. And as we were preparing to erect our gardens and the grocery store project, I was tasked with the assignment just to see how much we lack in healthy food versus how much of an abundance there is in unhealthy food. And I took on the assignment. I went on Google Maps, and this is one of those things you don't really pay attention to until it's time to pay attention to it. There's probably like over 100 McDonald's here in North County. There's probably there's tons and tons of liquor stores and drug stores. And, for our community to be predominantly African American, it's almost suspicious that within St. Louis County, there's North St. Louis County where we serve, South County, and West County. And in our area, we probably have more of the unhealthy establishments than the others, where they have Whole Foods, they have Straub's, they have healthy food access and things like that. And so when it comes to, African American identity and legacy, we want to show our people that you don't have to be, quote unquote, whitewashed, right? To embrace healthy eating, to embrace positive experiences. One of the things that we do is we celebrate Kwanzaa every year. Kwanzaa is a Pan-African celebration that lasts for a week. Our celebration is just one night of music and performance, and it's very Black. It's very Africanized. This past winter, we had the opportunity to host an authentic African drumming group.
Wow.
And, when I think about, once again, back to the young people who probably look up to what I consider is kind of a toxic culture of gangs and financial irresponsibility and sexual irresponsibility, that lends to a less thriving community. I just want, African Americans to feel empowered to start gardens, to have healthy food access, and to just experience a thriving and vibrant community without feeling like we have to give up our identity to have those things, for sure.
Yes, ma'am. All right, ladies, here's the most important part of this discussion. Where can people go to learn more about a Red Circle, maybe make a donation or get involved? And are you looking for volunteers?
Oh yeah, we're always looking for volunteers. There's always work to be done. We just hosted a community resource fair for the community, and while our team was there, we still could have used even more help, just to make all the events as maximized as possible. And so you can find more information at www.aredcircle.org. That's our main website. You can also follow our Facebook, a Red Circle nonprofit organization. Our color scheme is like a burgundy, beige and white. So you'll see, and then there's hands in the logo. So you'll see it kind of represents unity and diversity, and things like that. So anywhere you type a Red Circle, you can do a Google search of our organization.
And I want to also
And-
drive more
Mhm.
people over to our YouTube page, because the
Yeah.
Red Circle produces some of the best videos I've ever seen. And so please go and absorb and engage and enjoy the wonderful videos that are there. The videographer on staff, Caitlin Ong, is exceptional. She's a great photographer and a videographer. So it's
For sure.
does great work.
And Lady J, you should throw your website out there as well.
Oh, thank you. LadyJHuston.com. That's HUSTON.com. And you can find me on all socials with that same Lady J Houston. And so I have some great shows coming up. I keep a calendar of events and links to music and areas where you can download the music and get some merch. We have t-shirts, mugs, and some panty briefs too that says "Groove Me, baby."
Gotta let them know.
I got nothing, man. I got nothing. Oh man, Lady J Houston, Jessica Johnson, it has indeed been a pleasure. I want to thank both of you so much for joining me today on Time Signatures. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. This was a lot of fun.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. Well, as we conclude this edition of Time Signatures, please allow me to tell you about the National Women in Blues. And I chose this just for you, Lady J. This is an organization that supports, edifies, mentors, and promotes female blues artists, and was created in 2006 after the founder and chief bottle washer, that's her words, not mine,
That's hers,
Michelle Seidman, attended a large, well-known blues festival of about 55 acts on 4 stages, and she noted that there were only 4 female artists scheduled to perform. Now, fast forward nearly 19 years later, the National Women in Blues is making its mark with their annual Women in Blues showcase in Memphis, Tennessee during the International Blues Challenge. They also sponsor other showcasing events around the country and Women in Blues seminars. Visit nationalwomeninblues.com. Visit nationalwomeninblues.com today, and please consider making a donation in any amount to support this worthwhile cause, won't you? And once again, thank you so much for your consideration. And that does wrap up this edition of Time Signatures. Once again, my thanks to Lady J and Jessica, but also to you, for without you, none of this would be possible. Jim Ervin reminding you that keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues one story at a time is my mission. And as we close out, I would like to introduce and celebrate this song, the Community Peace Song. Check it out, my friends, and we'll see you next time.
We're helping out the community. We're helping out the Circle.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.